I remember when I moved into my first art studio outside of my house. It was about 10 years ago. And it was so big and it was such a scary step. And there weren't a lot of people, actually, there weren't a lot of people that thought this was a great idea because it seemed pretty risky at the time. It was when there was a lot of financial uncertainty for me and just the economy. But I needed a space, and the space that I ended up getting was much bigger and totally luxurious compared to what I had been in. And so I told myself, well, I will rent it out to other artists. Like I'll take a corner of it and I'll get other artists in there. And that's how I kind of justified it to myself. Anyway, this is Nicholas Wilton, and I'm talking about scaling up your thinking and the challenges around that and why it's so important to understand how that works. Because if you can change your thinking, you can change your art. You can make your art bigger and stronger and more like yourself. It's not just about making bigger art. It's just making it more like you. So having room to grow, it's like putting a plant in a bigger pot. It feels too big initially. And this is something that I remember, I've done this a few times now, where it never is comfortable. It's never comfortable moving into something new. And often it feels too much because you've been used to a certain size thing, a certain situation. So anything is hard and anything is challenging, but that's actually how it always is. Like now I understand. I am standing in a new studio right now, and there's a big chunk of this studio that I do not need. It's too big. And it was, it's a big step for me. But I just remembered, I've done this so many times, that there's going to be things that come in as a result of that. When I got that studio, the first one, and it was too big for me, I spent all this time in there and I was painting it and I was putting shelves in it. And I just got used to being in there and I loved it. And I thought, well, I don't want to divide this up. I want to work in this big space. So I ended up teaching. And I did this class and everything. And that was how Art to Life sort of gained momentum. I started doing these classes, but it came as a result of like, wow, maybe I can step up my teaching. So it grew my teaching and it grew my art. And it all happened because I stepped into something that was a little too big. The other piece that's important to remember is that when you move into that new thing that's more like you, that's often too big of a step, there's fear and it feels risky and there's uncertainty. But now I know that that's also important because that creates this energy. I mean, I was just at the paint store and I've got this new studio and I'm painting walls certain colors, like, cause it needs some art, it needs some color in here, And so I'm now looking at all these colors and that's really exciting. We're painting the walls and we're changing the colors. But it's the fear, like I've committed to this thing, I'm going to do this thing. And there's a nervous energy, but that makes everything possible. So along with those new places and those steps, that energy comes. And it's like, well, I got to make my art good because now I'm in this new space. It's like I've stepped it up. I've recommitted. I'm committed because now I'm in this new thing. And it's like, I'm doing this. I must be doing this. You almost convince yourself. So it's really, really important to realize that that's just garden variety. What happens when you take this step, when you scale up your thinking, there's going to be a degree of fear and risk involved in it. But that's so necessary. That's so, so important. The third piece of this is that it forces you to have a sort of a different kind of mindset. It stretches you. It's about being more open. new things and considering new possibilities requires you to think of yourself in a different way, to think of how it could be different for yourself. And it's impossible to know the outcome, so you have to trust in just the mode of being open to new possibilities. And I love that way of being. That's the way to be for making art, to where there's wonder involved in it, and there's curiosity and surprise. And so this general mindset of being open to change, to investigating what could be and thinking about it and moving towards that is also really, really important. And it's something that's reinforced by that move into a bigger space. Moving into bigger thinking, moving your art into a bigger space, it starts by the thinking. And all of these ideas, all of this is important to get your work kind of shifted up, because what's happening is you're growing, and sometimes we forget and we don't want to leave our art behind. And so we have to take these steps. I mean, we go along for a while and then we have to take a step, and then we go along for a while and then we have to take a step. And each time you do, it's kind of scary. So I love it. I'm in this new space. I'm talking to you, looking out in this new studio, and it's a little scary. It's exciting. So anyway, I just thought I would share this with you where I'm at, but also just as a reminder for all of us, like when you're ready, it takes a conscious effort to go bigger. So let me know in the comments, what's how you scale up, how you think, what is the best kind of conditions for you to be in, how you're thinking to get the best kind of art occurring. Let me know in the comments. That'd be really, really cool to hear and see what you guys are thinking. Also, for those of you who are new here, we have an amazing free artist Facebook group. Click on the link below, join us. There's extraordinary things happening in there every day. It's kind of wild. Hope your Sunday's great. Thanks for being here. Okay. Hey everyone, if you found this helpful, I have a whole lot more to teach, share, and inspire you with every single week. So please join the Art to Life YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Okay, great. Let's do this.